Candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows reign, your truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. We'll see. Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Will you hear the people's voice? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. The stage is set, the lights are bright. Candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead this promised land? Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will spin. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. We'll see. Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Will you hear the people's voice? Candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead this promised land? Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice.
And good evening, Palmerston North. And tonight, these are your candidates who are vying to become the next mayor for the next 3 years. But for every election, there's one thing stepping in their way, and that's your vote. and welcome to the It's in the Ballot show here live in what used to be the council chambers at one point in time. And the great part is you used to be able to walk from here, walk out and jump on a train to Wellington when the railway line used to go through the square. But unfortunately, since the Milson deviation was put in, the trains have been long gone and the council chambers are probably a hell of a lot flashier than what they were in this room. But this room is absolutely brilliant. And always, as I like to call our Palmerston North, it's in the Ballot home. So tonight we have got 3 candidates here in studio and 1 coming in remotely. How is everyone this evening?
Oh, very good. Very good. Yeah, can't buy.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So let's kick off with our, 1 minute opening statements. Offie, you get to go first. Offie, is that Offie? Offie, yeah. Get it right. Yeah.
Well, kia ora koutou. My name is Offie Coloured and I'm running for mayor. And the reason why I'm running for mayor are very simple. First of all, I've served on the council for the last 2 terms, and it remains a privilege and honor for me to serve my community and represent, residents' priorities at the council table. It's a privilege that I take extremely seriously, and one that I pledge to work very hard on behalf of Palmerston North's many and diverse communities. I'm running for mayor because I believe that Palmerston North is at a turning point, and I just believe also that we are in need of a change of leadership, change of vision, and change of approach. Palmerston North is currently facing mounting pressures from rising rates, housing costs, climate change challenges, population growth, aging population, and aging infrastructure, and sweeping central government reforms. And I personally believe that these issues demand not just management, but leadership with a clear plan. And with the cost of living biting hard, Palmerston North is becoming increasingly unaffordable for many families, businesses, and residents on fixed income. And I believe that more needs to be done to ease the burden on ratepayers and protect the things that make our city so unique. Grounded in my Christian faith, lived experience, and also a deep love for our city, I'm standing to offer practical, forward-thinking leadership that delivers on Palmerston North's potential. And as your mayor, pledge that I will review council's spending priorities and deliver value for money for ratepayers, and support housing growth and economic growth as well. I will seek to diversify council's revenue streams and introduce targeted user pays for non-essential services to reduce the costs on the cost pressures on ratepayers. I'll also proactively seek to lobby central government so we can get the best investment deals for Palmerston North, and also reduce the number of city councillors, because I believe for the city of Palmerston, a city like Palmerston North, 16 elected members is not needed, and also we need to reduce council committees to streamline decision making. I welcome the opportunity to lead our city into the future, and I hope that you vote Offie number 1 for mayor. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Next up, Caleb.
Tēnā koutou te iwi o te papaioia. Good evening, Palmerston North. My name is Caleb Riddick, and I am standing for mayor. Now, I'm not standing for mayor for a career in politics and the headlines. I'm standing because I'm a local who knows what hard work is and what life is really like in Palmerston North. I'm somebody who stands up when something isn't going quite right, and that's what I see with our city. I'm not saying we need to go hard right in a whole new direction. Just alter course ever so slightly and continue moving forward. Palmerston North is more than the heart of the Manawatu. It is the knowledge capital of New Zealand. And as a city, we need to move forward with the future built on the values that we have learnt from the past. A vote for me is a vote for a mayor that will use common sense in making decisions, that will put the basics first and the necessities of our people as our number 1 priority. Ngā mihi nui.
Okay, next up, Grant, your opening statement.
Kia ora, evening everyone. I'm Grant Smith and asking for your number 1 vote for City Mayoralty. I bring a head for business, a heart for the community, and a passion for Palmerston North. Over the past 10 years as the City Mayor, I've led a cohesive council that has attracted investment, built infrastructure and facilities that have changed the face of our city. Today, Palmerston North is a vibrant, heterogenic, but affordable city of choice. We have a diverse economy And like our people, in these economic headwinds, we must take our opportunities. I stand for continued investment in key infrastructure, giving ratepayers value for money and improving efficiencies. Championing key projects, the Tutanganui Central New Zealand Distribution Hub, regional freight and passenger rail, our regional freight ring road and central city revitalisation. I want to ensure that our regional waters entity is established and our key nature calls wastewater plant is affordable, sustainable and consented. Promote our world-class food science research, innovation and burgeoning tech sectors. And finally, champion our community, multicultural, arts, sports and environmental sectors, along with our strategic partnership with Rangitane. So re-elect Grant Smith for Mayor. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that. Now let's bring in Michael, who's coming in remotely. Thank you for joining us tonight remotely. As I say, the next best option when you can't be here in person.
Hi. So I'm on there?
Yes, you are.
Okay, cool. All right, so kia ora koutou. My name's Michael. I am working as an environmental policy planner for an iwi. So I understand both from the Western science point of view and Mātauranga Māori point of view about looking after our environment. And environment is one of my key platforms, but the main one, I want to represent the most vulnerable in our society that, to my knowledge, no other candidate is representing. And I'm talking about non-human animals, which are shockingly treated in this society and in others. So if elected, I would want to abolish any sort of animal entertainment, any sort of animal exploitation. So including racehorses, I would like to have them pound as being no kill, which can be quite easily done if it's planned properly, as Tauranga City are doing. And so, as well as animals and the environment, my third concern is marginalised humans, because we don't have a cost of living crisis, we have an inequality crisis. And if we look after our humans, that will also look after the environment and it will look after the animals. So that's what I'm standing for. If you believe in justice for animals, justice for the environment, and justice for marginalised humans, then vote for me for Mayor. Thank you. Kia ora.
Okay, thank you for that. Now, I've been a little bit slack here because I haven't given you your cards yet. I can't see them digitally up to Auckland. Where are you coming from, Michael?
Oh, Hakune.
Oh, they're already on set. Sorry, I've done my job. I didn't do my job. Someone else did my job.
Good week, Tim. Oh, good week, Nick.
Yeah, Nick did my job. Sorry. So for those in the studio, show your card when you want to use your button cards and your defer cards. For Michael, just type it into the chat and then let Nick. So that will tell Nick to tell me to bring it in. Yeah, okay. So here's how things work here with the cards. So we're off to the box questions now. Today we don't have our lovely assistants, Tina Kakabushi, as it will be called on It's in the Bag. So we're going to call out box numbers, but we're going to pull them out of the box. And we'll still have the same thing. Now, I'm just grabbing a number sheet because I was a little bit unprepared on numbers. So candidates will pick boxes between 1 and 28, and I'll read out the box numbers. If another candidate wants to answer that question in the box that another candidate has pulled out, they can use their button card and they go in and do it. If they get a question they do not want to answer, they can use their defer card. And each candidate gets 1 minute to sit there and do that. And as you'll get, there's a timer and the lovely bell rings when you hit your 1 minute. So shall we sit down there and kick off with Grant? You get to choose the box. First box number. What box number would you like to pick?
2.
2. Okay. So I'll flip them over so I don't actually know what I'm looking at before I pick them up. Okay, we got J for Juliet. Spending needs to happen within budget without increasing rates. What services or luxuries will you stop?
That's a fairly loaded question. I should really defer it to Orfe. But in all seriousness, luxuries, what are we talking about? There is no luxuries in council spending. Those that have seen any long-term plans will have seen that. But I suppose thinking about, they should really rephrase that to priorities. So, look, if we were going to have no rate rises, we would seriously have to close the library. We would have to defer some community funding. We would have to do a level of service change. So it's as simple as that. I mean, your own household's got cost of living increases coming on top of you. So you would seriously have to change something in that wheelhouse to defer rates or So look, it's around priorities, and my view is we've got to get the basics right. We spend 85% of our budget is on infrastructure, so you're only really playing with the 15% for community type projects.
And one line budget item on my personal budget I'd like removed will be my rent, and I'm sure a lot of people will say either their rent or their mortgage. But I don't think landlords would sit there like that, or nor the banks. Orphe, what's number one? Okay, you for uniform. What should council's priorities be when making grants to the community?
That's a very good question. I think priorities should be around need. I believe that in a community, I mean, with the grants that we have and the grants application that we have and the robust process that we have in place in terms of choosing applications and the merits-based system that we have in place to ensure that those grants actually go to worthy organization who actually go into the community and implement the council's vision by doing those activities should be commended. So it should be done on the basis of need, and a number of applications come to the council, and with the robust process that we have in place in terms of having a panel that actually go through all the applications that have been submitted by different groups and organizations in the community, wherever need is seen, that will actually complement the vision of the city or what we're trying to achieve in a strategic or ambition or obligation. That's where the funding should be. Thank you.
Okay, Michael, what box number would you like?
4, please.
Go for 4, no problem. Okay, we got W for whiskey. What do you think you're right? Why do you think you're right for the role as mayor?
I've got a science background and a policy background, so environmental policy, and I've also worked in public health policy. And the thing about policy is you're not an expert, but what you're doing is you are sifting the opinions of experts. You're looking at different viewpoints. You're thinking about unintended consequences. You're looking at where policies have been done before and what went right and what went wrong. And I think that would make me ideal to be a councillor or a mayor, because like the experts are the people within the council. So the operational people, the roading engineers, the wastewater engineers, the accountants, the people who actually put the work together. But the policy advisors, I think the people who formulate policy need to be able to know who to believe, who to trust, and what sort of advice to take, and be able to look at the big picture. So I think that would make me right for this role.
Okay, Caleb, what box number?
I'll round it up with 3. Get the bottom 4 done.
Okay, we got E for echo. Do you think the council should be involved in providing social housing, and if so, how?
Well, now that's a very tricky one. I do believe that social housing should be a central government priority. However, local council should be doing their part to help develop and assist the central government. So assisting where can, but it is more of a government issue.
And we have a button from Orphy.
Yeah, I just want to say that, I mean, with homelessness on the rise in Palmerston North, I think it's important that the council actually retains a bit of some influence in the social housing space, but council alone cannot do it. So we need some central government support in that in on that front. And at the moment we're currently a tier 2 council, but I believe that it starts also at the top leadership. Doing more advocacy to get the best investment deals for Palmerston North, advocating strongly to central government, because I strongly believe that in as much as the council shouldn't be doing all of the work or carry the heavy load, but central government should actually come to the party as well. Yeah.
Okay, it's 4 questions down. Let's get to another round in a new order. Michael. Yep, ready. What box number would you like?
Number 5.
Number 5. And then it's just like, find a card. Okay, we've got A for Alpha. What political parties are you linked to?
Okay, I founded the Animal Justice Party in 2022, and my policies are the same as what that party would be, even though I parted ways with them. I'm also a member of the Green Party and a former member of the Labour Party. I have not been endorsed, nor have I asked for endorsement for any of those parties. I'm standing as an independent, but I'd describe myself as a small G Green.
Okay, Grant, what box number?
12.
12? Okay, we got C for Charlie. Are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position?
It's very different on the screen. It says, should rural communities have a say in the operations of council-owned rural water schemes? I think that's another council.
Yeah, no, I probably have loaded the wrong graphics in the script. Should be the right one. But yeah.
Sorry, what was it again?
It was about, are you comfortable with the way the council manages its debt position?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So council debt, and sometimes it's people truly don't understand the role of council with intergenerational assets. For instance, roads, pipes, big plants like water plants, both wastewater and freshwater. Some of these facilities have a lifespan of 100 to 80 years. So you've got to, rather than burden the ratepayer of the day, there needs to be debt accrued to them, so they're intergenerational assets and they're paid down over the life of the asset. A lot of the public don't understand that, and to be honest, I was a businessman, I didn't really totally understand. So there's good debt and bad debt. So debt on key infrastructural assets, I think, is good, and as long as it's paid back. It's like a credit card. You can't let it rack up the bills and not pay it back. But this council has paid back its debt and is continuing to pay back its debt, but it's building things. So, of course, there is an element of debt on the council's books, but it's good debt.
Okay, I'm kicking myself on loading in graphics again. I've managed to load the wrong shows ones in. Okay, Orphy, what box number?
13.
13. Okay, AA. Do you support household food waste collections to stop organic waste going to landfill?
Yeah, that's a good question. Definitely, and I think that should be encouraged. And the council has been doing some work around it as well. And personally, I believe that organic waste should be geared towards composting and also improving our environmental footprint our city's environmental footprint. So that's something that should be encouraged, and the council is doing a lot of good work around around this space already. And as mayor, I'll continue to support better environmental outcomes by encouraging such programs and encouraging the council to move in that direction. Thank you.
Okay, Caleb.
I'll go 28, please.
28. Okay. The hard hitting shouldn't be in there. Okay. So we've got R for Romeo. Palmerston North City Council has many places where technical tiles are used on footpaths to assist users who are vision impaired to know where it's safe to cross the road and what type of crossing they're using. Is this a core function of Palmerston North City Council or a nice to have?
Oh, absolutely. I think that the council is responsible for ensuring that all its members are safe and, no matter what disability they carry. So having the assisted pathways helping the vision impaired is definitely thing that I would like to back.
Okay, and we have a button from Grant.
Yeah, look, I agree with Caleb in the sense that it should be, it's not really a luxury, it's part of supporting your community. And look, Palmerston North is flat. It has a number of, it's a big regional hospital. It has Enable New Zealand here, and we have a big disability sector here. So you've got to provide for your people, for your community. Look, it isn't a big expense either if it's done in planning and infrastructure. So if we're doing some upgrades on, for instance, our central city, we should be putting these tiles for those that are, need that assistance. So I don't think it's a big cost. To support some people that do need that help, and that enables them to get out and about with a little bit of confidence rather than just sitting at home because they feel unsafe in being able to travel around our city. You do it in stages, and you obviously start with the central city and places like facilities they may utilise, whether it be swimming pools, supermarkets, shops, those sorts of things, and maybe even the hospital area. But yeah, it's definitely a thing the city should be doing.
Okay. No more buttons? No. Okay. Okay, we've got what's it? Eight questions now done. Michael, you get to pick the next box number. What box number would you like?
20.
So we'll go for 20. Okay. And we've got X for X-ray. Would you consider advocating for more safe pedestrian crossings on main arterial routes such as Pioneer Highway?
Absolutely. Pedestrians are people too. They deserve to be able to cross the road safely without having people running them down who keep thinking that it's only people who speed as fast as they can on roads who have any sorts of rights. Yeah, I'd support pedestrian crossings. I'd even support raised pedestrian crossings because I know they actually do slow the traffic down and are a lot safer. So yeah, definitely.
Okay, and we've got a button from Morphy.
No.
Yeah, I do believe that we should, as a city, as a city council, we should continue to support urban design that meet the need of all our road users, pedestrians, people on scooters, or also meet the needs of disabled people, for example, in our community. And pedestrian crossings, especially around Pioneer highways, should be seen not as a nice to have necessarily, but as a priority to support the needs of different residents who use different modes of transportation, be it on a scooter or skateboard, or children on skateboards, or those that are just using to cross over to a shop and that sort of thing.
Okay, and now Grant, what box number?
15.
15. Okay, we've got G for golf. Okay, the government and the Taxpayers Union have been accusing councils of being irresponsible with large percentage rates increases. What are your views?
Yeah, well, look, I suppose they look out the window and they see Wellington City Council and a few of the other major cities which have had really big double digit rate increases. Look, there has been. I think there has been a lack of understanding of what council does at the big house in Wellington, and I acknowledge we've got our MP here, so I've got to be careful what I say. But it'd be well known that look, there's cost increases that are borne upon us from legislation and alike. For instance, the new water regulator, the cities and the district councils have to pay for that. Now, that's a government agency. That's another example. And for Palmerston North, it's $500,000. So those are the sort of things that are coming upon us. But look, we do have to we're mindful of rate increases, and they've reached their limit in some ways. And Palmerston North, 6.6 this year. As terms of cities and metros, it's been around 24% in the last 3 years. Now, that's large, but it's actually quite a lot smaller than most of the bigger cities. So, we've tried our best to cut our cloth accordingly, unless, as I said in earlier comments, unless we chop a library, reduce some hours, chop some staff, whatever it's going to be, I can't see us being able to get to that magical sort of 2 or 3%. It is extremely, extremely hard with the cost increases for infrastructure, which is what we do most of, 33% increase for bridges and roads. So very, very hard to balance that or get value for money on that.
Yes, we have button from Michael.
Yeah, kia ora. I don't take that sort of, rhetoric from the Taxpayers Union or the central government seriously at all. It's dog whistle politics. They're covering up their own economic ineptitude of spending $500 million on boats that never turned up to sort of blame others. I mean, first of all, it was the previous government. Then they want to blame Mayoral, and then now they want to blame councils. So, of course, I mean, there's probably some wasteful spending in councils, just as wasteful spending with everyone, and it should be tightened up. But I think Grant is right. If we want libraries, if we want the sort of services, we probably are going to have to put the rates up. What I would like to see instead is more equitable distribution of rating. Like, I've been looking at the budget, and if you've got an expensive house, you actually pay less per $1,000 of your home's value than if you've got a cheap house. I think it should be the other way around. We should have differential rating like we do with taxes, and that would make the burden a lot fairer.
Okay, Caleb, what box number?
21, please.
21. Oh, yes, it's a good age. Yes, in 1949, my grandma proudly voted for the first time, and it's also in that particular year we got our first female Māori MP. Yeah.
What was her name?
Iriaka Ratana. And one of was it our third widow succession and the only one who made a career out of it, and the last widow succession as well, because we've had no more widow successions with Parliament since then. Okay. Stop talking about MPs and starting to talk about questions. If you're elected as councillor, will you decelerate council spending on unwanted grand projects and concentrate on the vital necessary infrastructure needs such as roading? Oh, letter is V for Victor.
Yes. Could you please... Sorry, you threw me off with your little one.
That's all good. If you are elected...
Yes, I would. There have been a few projects that I've been seeing that are more of a nice to have rather than necessities. One, for example, was a $15 million marae on Anzac Park, where I think that needs to be scaled back to a more modest design to represent the Anzacs. And a big focus on the infrastructure and roads, like Grant has said. It is a lot of money that goes into spending and upgrading our infrastructure, so we can get rid of our non-necessity cosmetic projects that the council have been looking at. Thank you.
And we have a button from Grant.
Yeah, look, so I'll go back to our comments at the past. I think there's a lack of understanding of how the council budget's made up. So 85% is on infrastructure like roads and the like. This year, we actually put more money into roading because NZTA stopped their dual funding of some city roads. So footpaths, some of our roads that did need upgrading, we dug more into the city coffers to ensure that they kept going. Look, everyone does say these are communities fight for these projects. So Rangitane, which we have a kawanata with, it was their number one priority was Te Mautapatoa and Zac Park. So they're putting in, it's basically 2 for 1. So the city's putting in $2, they're putting in 1. So it's a big project for them and it is a site of significance. And look, I appreciate that some people might see it as a nice to have, but they certainly advocated for it, as did the Pacifica community that wanted their hub at the other end of town, Bill Brown Park. And again, these communities are putting in dollars themselves. So it's not as if the city does the entire heavy lifting. So, look, but again, I just come back to, it's probably not even be closer to 90% that infrastructure spend. So it's certainly up there. And I think sometimes it is a little bit of a misconception of what council does.
Now, we have a bit of a problem here, but when we have less candidates on stage, it does make this a bit easier. I'd like to put the motion forward that we give all candidates an extra button card so Orphy can put in a button. All those in favour say aye.
You
All those
can have one of mine if you want. I don't
The
think I'm
ayes
going to be
have
butting
it. Okay. You now have an extra button card to button.
Yeah. No, I feel like this is an important issue to address because, that's actually the current conversation that's being had, a conversation that's being discussed nationally. I think we need to be very careful on the phrase "nice to have" because it's very subjective. But I do believe that council should actually also do a bit of review of its spending priorities because, especially for our long-term plan, when I look at it, we tend to spend too much on the front end of the long-term plan, which to me sometimes can be a bit too ambitious in a sense. So. It's all about reviewing spending priorities in order to alleviate the rates burden on residents at the moment. Because I feel like on the front end of our long-term plan, we tend to do too much, which can sometimes put pressure on our spending. And there are 3 ways in which the council can raise money. It's one through debt, and the other one through raising rates, and the other one through either diversifying our income streams. And that's where we need to focus a lot. We can't just rely on rate as the principal stream of revenue. We need to diversify our income in a sense as well, like many other councils do.
You sound like you're speaking my language right there. I was going to say, you can always do what Wellington does and get this pesky thing called bus lanes and put cameras on them because someone called me worked out that they could net in $10.5 million a year. I mean, I'm not sure if you can net that in Palmerston North, but you could net that in fines. It is an option within the law. Yeah. Yeah. Orphy, what box number?
We go 13.
Already taken.
Oh.
I think it might have been from you. I can't remember. Or it might have been Caleb. I can't remember what it was.
Number 7.
Number 7.
Yeah.
Okay. S for Sierra. Palmerston North City Council has some cycleways along its arterial routes throughout the city. Is this a core function that Palmerston North City Council should provide or a nice to have?
It's definitely not a nice to have. I think it's a core function of council because it deals with infrastructure and making sure that our roads are roads of the 21st century that meets the needs of all road users, whether you're on cycling, whether you're on a scooter, whether you're driving, or whether you're walking. We need to make sure that Palmerston North's roads are conducive and safe for all road users. So it's definitely not a nice to have. It is a core responsibility of the council. I don't believe necessarily in putting cycle lanes throughout the whole city, but we should have some cycle lanes in our key arterial roads because those are if you look at the key arterial roads around Palmerston North, a lot of them have got schools there, and a lot of school children are actually cycling on those roads. So it's really important that we keep our children safe. And for me personally, when I think about this issue, safety is at the forefront, or the overarching principle guiding my decisions, even on a council around these matters. So it is a core function of council.
Okay, yep. Okay, we'll go to Michael's button, then we'll go to Grant's button.
Oh, it seems to be popular. Yeah, I would agree. Cycling is not just a nice to have, it's vital. Cycling helps people's health. There's been a lot of research on that. It also is better for the environment. And it actually reduces congestion, because what a lot of people don't seem to realize, it's cars that cause congestion. They're the big things. Europe has been putting in cycling since the 70s. There was a lot of backlash at the time, or bike-lash as I call it, and people resisted it a long way. Now Europeans accept it as the best way of getting around the cities. And Palmerston North is flat. It's easy for cycling, and it's sort of built on a grid. You don't have all the isthmuses that you do in Tauranga or Auckland, for instance. So I think we really need to be spending more on cycling. And I don't understand a lot of the sort of bike-lash. I think people are just used to going around in cars, and it's a privilege they think they have, entitlement, and not slowing down, not having pedestrian crossings. And sometimes I think that if being vegan doesn't get me hated enough, I just ride on a bike with Go Vegan on it, and that is probably gets me a lot more hated. But yeah, I think bikes are the way to go.
Okay, now let's get to Grant's button.
Yeah, look, I agree with both Orfe and Michael. It was quite good in the sense that cyclists are part of our community as well. And look, the city's had a proud cycling history. We've even got an advocate in the crowd here. But in all seriousness, and I wasn't not allowed to mention the war, but I'm not allowed to mention Featherston Street either. but I will bring up Featherston Street because it went past our city's biggest school and our city's oldest school, and it was interesting that it was around safety. Look, if we had our time again, would we have done things differently? Yes, we would have, in terms of the design. But look, it was a government project which the city was asked to approve. We did. Look, again, I just say we might have done things slightly differently. But safety's the key there. The 300 to 400 boys that cycle each day out of Boys High, one of them got killed a few years ago, and if we're slowing up a little bit of traffic at times and we save a life, look, I'm going to back that every time. So I do think it's part of our city planning. We have a master plan round roads, like Orfe said. They don't go on every road, but they do need to be on some of our roads. It just needs to be well planned, and we didn't do that well. So I'll take that one on the chin, but I do think that we should be doing this work, and I do agree with the majority of the previous comments.
Okay, we're at 12 questions. Let's get for another round. Caleb, what box number?
I'll go number 6.
Go number 6. Okay, we've got H for hotel. Do you support central government introducing rate caps onto local authorities, and why?
Grant looks like he wants to have a bit of a defer, so he's quite keen on that. I'll let him, but I do think it's quite tricky having government put their hands in where locals are trying to get their work done. So, Grant, over to you.
Okay. Thanks, Caleb. You'll get one back. Look, it's interesting. I can understand why there is a sense of rate caps because, when you're sitting in some districts and some cities and you've got double digits and your rates might have gone up 30 or 40%, I can understand. But yeah, the government the reason some of those rate increases have happened is actually the government or some of the government's legislation which has been passed on to us. They collect GST off rates and they won't even give that to councils. Imagine if they just said, right, guys, this is our contribution. You got this. That's your lot. get on and do the business. That would make a huge difference to a city like Palmerston North. You know, that would be 20 or 30 million, which we could put back into infrastructure. But look, I agree. I can understand why there is the call for rates caps. If they were to bring them in, as long as they weren't just tied to the 2 to 3%, which people are asking for, and there was some sense of normality about the sort of work we have to do and the costs that we have to pay. People are saying tie it to the, the economic.
Performance?
Yeah. Sorry, I lost me there for a moment. But because we buy bridges, we buy roads, we buy pipes and everything else, it's not tailored to the economic indicator. So there's got to be some happy medium there. But I'm a bit of a buck halfway on this, or glass half full. So I'll leave it at that. Thank you.
We've got a problem with the buttons on there. Do we have to put another motion back out again?
I thought the motion carried through the whole night.
No.
It's okay.
Well, I do think one thing that could be in there for ministers in particular, maybe their pay salary should be tied to the price increase of vegan butter, which has not moved in the last 12 months of being at $10 a kg. So, I think that might be a great one. And I think a lot of people will be surprised to find out vegan butter is half the price of actually cow's butter at the supermarket. See, and I've got a dairy allergy, if anyone knows, that's how I know that one. Orphy, what box number?
Let's go with 15.
15. Nope, that's been taken. Do you want 16?
Let's make it sweet 16.
Okay, Q for Quebec. I think this one you might fit. Was it like this one? What budget line item would you remove to help bring rates down in Palmerston North without disrupting basic services?
As I said earlier on, it's all about prioritizing council's spending. And personally, if an item has made it onto the budget or the long-term plan, it means it was worthy and there was actually demand from the community. And there was a lot of support for it to make it through the long-term plan for consideration, or the annual budget for consideration into the long-term plan. But it's all about just reviewing council's spending priorities as well. And as I alluded earlier on, there are many ways the council can reduce the rates burden on residents. Number one, we have options to defer projects as well into the long-term plans and push it out to alleviate the rate burden on the rate pressure on residents. And number two, again, by diversifying our income revenue streams in order to pay for some of those projects that we have in the long-term plan. So there won't be any sort of budget items that I will be willing to, remove, because they're all worthy budget items. But it's all about prioritizing what needs to be done now and what needs to be pushed further, or what can we afford to push down the line so that we don't put a lot of pressure on our ratepayers.
Now, Grant, you do know you're out of button cards as well. I don't know. Are we going to have to put another motion for it? I mean, Caleb hasn't even used any of his.
Oh, no, I agree with a lot of the points. So it's quite good.
Oh, so we're going to just put a motion. Yeah.
Right,
Okay, the motion's
you
been
put a motion in.
Let another one go.
Yeah, it's been passed.
All in favour?
All right, look, so I think agreeing with Orfe in the sense that how can you get projects across the line where the ratepayer just cannot pay anymore, or it's quite necessary to pay for stuff. So an example is external funding or partnering with different public-private partnerships or other organisations. And an example is, I come back to the Anzac Park. We're doing that with a whole lot of partners, including Rangitane. So the city isn't paying for that by itself. I look at the wastewater plant. We've got to build a plant that includes trade and industrial customers and that use it for their trade waste. We charge them for that, but we should be asking for some contributions towards the plant to enable them to do their business in the city as well. And I think you'll find a lot of other councils will be looking at that as well. We should look at external money for facilities, and we are around Arena, Pacifica Hub, The city's very lucky to get royalties from the energy sector for the wind farms, and we should be leveraging a lot more of that. So I think there's a lot more that can be done in external funding, and some of these projects should be tied to a part of the money needs to come from external sources.
Okay, Grant. What box number?
Caleb was going into the 20s, so maybe I'll go 18.
Oh, yes, the great age of voting. That we can all start voting now.
Yeah.
Yes, not 21 like it was when my grandma was 21. Okay. There has F for Foxtrot. There has been much media coverage about candidates' behaviour towards their fellow candidates over the country. What are your personal values that make you a suitable candidate to be a mayor?
Well, I think you've got to treat people with respect. I've always been one that's through life is take, rather than take people at face value and treat people like you want to be treated. I think today is just an example. There's, our questions and our answers have all been very collegial here at the table here. But I've treated council as the existing mayor as we have a code of ethics. You play the subject, not the person. There's integrity. And there's also, you've got to be professional in what you do. I've looked at some other councils and, releasing confidential information to try and get an upper hand on your colleagues or taking pot shots in the media about somebody. I mean, it's really, really low stuff. And fortunately, this council has never been in that space, certainly since I've been on council in the last 10 years. In fact, we have a tikanga sort of unwritten code which we adhere to. And look, we've got party seats as well, so we've got people that have quite wide-ranging views, political views around the table, but we treat people with respect. We try to understand a position and we come to it. And sometimes you've got to back off when it's you've lost the debate, and don't try and relitigate it consistently. And I think that's one great thing that Palmerston North's done, and I think it sort of speaks of our city really, and how we engage and being relatively humble as well.
Okay, Michael. We've got a button from Caleb. Finally, using the button cards.
Yeah, well, I thought I'd use at least one tonight. So, what personal values? Like Grant said, you need to not judge people by their appearance and treat everyone with respect, treat others how you want to be treated. So, the values that I've learnt from my Pākehā side of my family and my Māori side have all come together with kotahitanga is togetherness. Everyone is living in the city together and we all need to work together. It's a lot easier if we're all rowing the same way. We're going to get better results. The second is manakitanga, caring and generosity, doing the right thing because it's the right thing to do, not for a headline or applause, but just helping where help is needed. And my third is te whakapono, honesty, where council needs to be honest about where things are going, where the money is going for our rates, and be accountable when things go wrong. So keeping people accountable was another big one.
Okay, Michael, what box number?
Round 9.
9? Yep, we can do 9. Okay. L for Lima, and apologies if I get the Māori name wrong. This is a bit of a tongue twister. Do you think that Māori wards, such as our own Te Pua, I always balls it up, that one, Māori ward strengthens democracy? Why or why not?
I'd support Maori wards, and I support Maori having co-governance. I know a lot of people think that it's giving Maori special treatment, but it is actually just trying to redress some of the balance from colonialism. And colonialism casts longer shadows than a lot of people realise. I mean, I was actually reading about how even 1,000 years after the Norman conquest, Norman families are still wealthier than Saxon families. So I work at an iwi. I've been reading our Bill of Settlement, and the Crown has apologised for a lot of things that it's done wrong and has been redressing them to some extent. It probably never redressed them totally, but it's having a go, it's redressing them. And I think Maori wards are part of that. They're giving Maori a voice, and they're letting them be part of our democracy. It's also, I'd say, it's a legal obligation under the Treaty of Waitangi.
Grant wants to put in another button.
Thank you. Look, with Michael's view, yeah, look, I personally agree with Māori wards. If you look at Palmerston North, our relationship with Rangitane goes back about 160 plus years. And when George Snelson, the first mayor of Palmerston North, and Te Piti Te Awi, the baton was passed on through the generations to now. We're fortunate here in Palmerston North. We have a statue of an Indigenous leader in our square, which is unusual in regional New Zealand, and it was erected in those very early 1900s. So that just shows you, that set the scene for what's happened here. We didn't have conflict. Rangitane, the Manakitanga, they showed early settlers. Some of them wouldn't have survived because it was tough going in those days, and they fed them. They made sure that they had a place, a whare to go to in those early days, and that's come through to today. So with our deputy mayor is Rangitane, Deputy Marshal Lobb, and they've brought a different perspective to council and the way we think, and it's been beneficial. It hasn't been negative. In fact, we don't even, in all fair, I hope you agree with me, they don't even. We don't even treat them differently. They're part of the wider council, and we don't say they're the Māori ward councillors over there in the corner. No, they're part of us at the same table, and the benefits have been far better than I sort of imagined at the start. So it's a big plus from us, and I just hope that in the referendum, the electorate, the people of Palmerston North, can see that as well, and we don't have outsiders coming in and saying, you shouldn't vote for this because, or say no, because the people here, I hope, will be saying yes.
You want to do a button?
Am I allowed to do a button?
Yeah, you do a button. Yeah, just because we've hit the limit on time, so let's get one button in out of the way and we'll go for a break.
Yes, I do agree with the comments made by Grant and the other speakers as well. I think, I believe that the two Maori wars that we've had have actually strengthened our local democracy in a sense as well. And not only for the money that they bring to the table, but also in terms of upskilling even elected members who had not been exposed to Maori worldviews in a work setting, for example, which has made our council very not only diverse but representative, but also the views that are brought along around the council table, which have been able to inform us as well around Maori processes or tikanga Maori, and that has enriched our council or even our decision making in the council. So definitely, I would agree that it has strengthened our democracy, and my hope as well, and my desire is that everyone will vote for it. Everyone in Palmerston will vote for to retain Maori wards because of the value that they bring to the table. Thank you.
Okay, we're going to. Sorry.
Oh, do you want me to butt in?
Yeah, butt in.
Would you like me to? Yeah, okay. Yeah. I guess with being the token on the board. But
Kill him.
no, I can understand this question from my Pākehā side of the family, who would be saying, why don't Māoris just stand for general ward like everybody else has to? And I understand my Māori side, Toitu Tiriti. So it was offered by the government of the time, the treaty, that Māori would always have a seat at the table to have our opinions heard. So if we vote yes, to keep the democracy of our Māori wards. It doesn't hurt anybody to have Māoris let them have their say. 2 seats out of 15 isn't going to hurt anybody. So it is, like I concur with the other 3 candidates. It's only a positive for this country, which keeps us unique as New Zealand.
Okay, so just before we get to the break, let's get to a bit of housekeeping. It's in the Ballot is an independently run non-profit organisation with its focus on getting candidates and voters to be the most informed and giving candidates the equal opportunity of standing out there. Our shows are run on small dollar donations, so every little bit does help, and would love it if you can do your bit. Today's cost to run the show cost us $120 in venue hire, $14 for the Starlink connection, $31 for Restream hosting services, and we only have 1 vehicle here today, not 2, so our transport budget of $100 and a refreshments budget of $50. So if you'd like to sit there and help keep It's in the Ballot as a show running, please do so, and help our volunteers who bring this content to you, who have given up their time and their places to sit there and make everything all work from the various many members of the team. If you'd like to sit there and support the project, you can sit down there and head on to our Give a Little page. You can put a donation on there. You can also head to our Eventbrite pages for the ticket options and choose a mission without koha without a mission, or the other option you can also go with is you can head to our website to it'sintheballot.nz and head to the donations page, and you can direct credit payment straight into our bank account. Now, the direct credit one is the one that will be there the quickest, and if you want to long-term support the project, you can always join our Patreon page as well. So those are the options on there. So we'll now take a break, and we'll see you for hard-hitting questions in 10 minutes' time.
You don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now, you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed. We'll resume on a dime. check your legs, you don't need a leader. The live stream will be back, so don't go too far. But for now you can wander wherever you are. Intermissions aren't really a thing anymore, but we think they're cool, a tradition to adore. A moment to breathe, have a laugh, maybe chat. There's magic in breaks, and we're keeping that. Head to the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. Into the lobby, I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime. I mean your kitchen with glee, for snacks that are tasty and drinks. Maybe 3. Fill up your plate, pour a glass, take your time, then come back refreshed, we'll resume on a dime.
Oh shit, don't panic, but it's almost time to get back to the show. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. Cause there's still hard-hitting questions, closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab those snacks for the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, 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 oh. The candidates have stretched their leg. The candidates have stretched their legs, been partying, taking a break. Closing statements and stuff you wanna know. So grab the snack you wanna know. So grab those snacks and the answers and prep for decisions you need to make. Oh, oh, oh.
Just set the lights up bright, candidates ready for the fight. Voices loud, they take the stand. Who will lead the promised land? The mist is flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take the mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Who you hear, the people's voice. It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will stand. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Who, we'll see. Promises flying, hearts ignite. Truth and lies will take a mic. The clock is ticking, make your choice. Will you hear the people's voice? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see. Words are weapons, wielded strong. Debates get heated, right or wrong. They paint the town with visions bold. Who will rise, who will fold? Shadows linger, truth will stand. The battle rages from within. One by one they state their case, but only one can win this race. Who will lead this, win this race? It's in the ballot, it's in your hand. The future's calling, take a stand. One vote, one dream, one destiny. Who will wear the crown in 2025? We'll see.
Sorry about that. That took a little bit longer than planned from when the music finishes to when we get back to the studio. But now let's get ready for hard-hitting questions.
Yes, you.
Okay, time to get back for hard-hitting questions. These are the questions we ask all candidates in the show. You cannot use your button cards, you cannot use your defer cards because everyone's got to answer the hard-hitting questions. Hard-hitting question number one. Do you think the council is doing enough in terms of wastewater treatment and disposal? And we start off with Orphy.
I think, I think there are areas we can improve on. I mean, the reason why we currently have a wastewater treatment project, which is called Nature Cause project at the moment, attests to the fact that more needs to be done in order for us to remain compliant with Horizons Regional Council. So a lot needs to, there's room for improvement, and I think the 480 million, which we've kept to 480 million for a wastewater disposal or treatment plan or treatment project that we're currently looking at the moment, is a reason or cause to highlight that there's a lot that needs to be done in order to remain compliant with Horizons. Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong screen there. Caleb.
Well, I actually believe that this is one of the things that Palmerston North have got quite right is our wastewater. Actually, all our 3 waters are going quite well. like Wolfie said, there is always room for improvement. However, the current status quo for wastewater treatment and disposal is, I believe, in a good shape for our city.
Okay, Grant.
Well, we are going, as Ulfo said, we've got a project called Nature Calls. So we are compliant. It's not as if we're not compliant. That seems to be misunderstood at different times. But the city does need to be reconsented, and our consent will have to, the standards have gone higher. So we've gone into the waters entity with, you want to call it Central Waters as an example, but it includes Rangitikei and Horowhenua. And that means that we'll be able to do more because we've got more scale. But look, if you go back 10 years, I came into the Mayoralty, we had 6 discharges to the Awa, to the Manawatu River. We've now got 1. So we've managed to get the likes of our trade customers like New Zealand Pharmaceuticals, Goodman Fielder Dairy, and Fonterra now in with the city. We've also got places like Massey University and Linton Camp, along with the village of Ashurst, all coming now into the city system. So that's got to be better for our wastewater. But there's still a lot to do. And I do hope it isn't 480 million, as Orphe said. I hope it's half that, because even that is quite an extension for the ratepayers, even with a bigger water entity. So, look, we're well placed, as others have said, but there's still a bit of work to do going forward.
Okay, Michael.
Yeah, the wastewater treatment all around the country has been run down, and that's why the 3 waters was proposed, which gave everyone economy of scale. I think a lot of the fault with the way that wastewater is being overloaded, especially in rural areas, Palmerston, North Luckier and that area, is because of scrapping the 3 waters, basically because they were afraid of co-governance, and then bringing in this local water done well, which has taken so long to get off the ground. Basically, I think Palmerston North has done better than most. I was very interested to read that Palmerston North are going in with Rangitikei, because Rangitikei Council, as part of it, is the catchment of the Wangehu, which is Te Waiu o Te Ika, which is sacred water, almost has the same status as the Wanganui River, for Ngāti Rangi and other iwi along its banks. So I'd be looking at, if I was elected, to the way that the new water entity is looking after the river. The Manawatu River, as others have said, has cleaned up a lot. 15 years ago, it was the most polluted in the world as far as biological oxygen demand is going. Now, well, I was actually surprised to see people even swimming in the river. We'd never have thought of that 10 years ago.
Okay, let's get to hard-hitting question number 2. Now, sorry, there is no graphic because I've loaded the wrong ones in. And as I say, most of them I can get, most of them I was able to win, but this one I couldn't, and I did check before we went live. How do you feel it is that Palmerston City gets on board joining in and extending this gem by safely linking in local and visiting walkers and cyclists too, and what steps, if any, will they take to progress the completion of the off-road pathway that will allow free flow of our walkers and cyclists between Palmy and Woodville?
Do you want me to start that off? Yeah, no, I know what they're talking about there. That's about connecting Woodville to Palmerston North using the new highway, Te Turanga, the Manawatu Taurua Highway, which has got, which has basically got an off-road pathway, and then you come to Ashurst and it stops, and then we've got a little bit more done down the river, and then you come to Palmerston North, and we've got a beautiful shared pathway right through to Awapuni. We've even got a bridge that goes across to the university and to Linton Camp. It's magnificent. Over 1 million people used it, in the past year. So it's well utilised, but there is some missing gaps. The problem is they're owned privately, and those bits of land. And even with the best intentions, we've struggled to get landowners to agree to give up some, access to get through there. It's never say never, and we'll be trying pretty hard because there's a bit of pressure on us now to do something, and that community pressure will actually come on those landowners as well, as people want to recreate and get from Ashurst, and there'll be a new footbridge going over Ashurst, over the Manawatu river there at Ashurst, and that will really put the pressure on starting to connect up. So we've got probably 2.5 years to get that sort of sorted. I'm hoping we can get something going, even if it is a little bit of a stopgap measure, just to get a continuation right through. But I think that's what the question was after.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, in the actual order, it put Caleb first. So let's go to Caleb.
I think that it's quite important to have cycleways, good cycleways to keep our cyclists safe. I do understand the frustrations of the drivers, but for every cyclist or walker that is doing their thing, it's taking congestion off the road, which is opening up the roads, making it more safe. So it's making it more safe for drivers and for the cyclists. So I would try, like Grant, just continue the extension of it and try and link it up to make it just one continual one, so everybody is safe.
Okay. Next up, Orphy.
Can you repeat the question again? Because I got lost in all the details.
Graham, would you like to pass it over? It's a bit of a tongue twister.
How vital do you feel it is for Palmerston City to get on board and join in extending the gem of safety and linking and local and visiting walkers and cyclists? And what steps, if any, will you take to progress the completion of the off-road pathway that will allow free flow of walkers and cyclists between Palmerston North and Woodville?
Okay, thank you. I think it's, I believe it's very vital for us to have that link that's connecting not just Woodville to Ashurst, but also Ashurst to Palmerston North, and it's vital for us to actually also encourage the cycle lanes or the path leading up to Ashurst. As Grant probably highlighted earlier on, and he'll probably be more privy to that information than I am, because he's the current mayor and he gets briefed on a lot of these things. But it's all about also the landowners around that place as well, which he alluded earlier on, which is, land, just achieving, getting landowners to actually give up land to continue that project is proving to be difficult at the moment. But it's something that if should I be elected or given a privilege to serve as mayor, I'll continue to advocate and encourage going forward as well, because I believe it's a good asset for our city. We have nice walking and cycleways around the city, especially around the river, and it's good that we have that connection and make sure that we have good walkways and connected cycleways even around that river path as well, connecting us to other towns and villages surrounding us as well. Thank you.
Okay, Michael.
I've already given my views on cycling generally, so I definitely support a cycleway. It's better for the environment, better for health, and something else that it could probably attract tourism as well. So it's a sort of low impact alternative to a lot of other tourist activities that are doing a lot more damage to the environment. So I'd certainly support it. One thing I want to say about cycle tracks generally, though, I've been riding a bike for 50 years, and I've been on some fairly hairy bike tracks where they're not properly separated from the cars, and they could even give the cyclists a false sense of security. Sometimes they're in the camber, sometimes the drainage is blocked, and there's mud and all sorts of things that cyclists can slip. So I would actually like cycle paths to be built by people who have actually ridden a bike, and I think there's a lot of them, especially in Auckland, haven't they?
I was going to say we can helicopter Wellington's Patrick Morgan in to help with the design. Okay, so let's get on to hard-hitting question number 3. What is your position on retaining the Pure Pu or Māori ward for what Palmerston North City Council and the Tonga Māori constituency for the Horizons Regional Council, and why do you hold that position? And I'll just kick off the random order sheet. Caleb, you get to go first.
Oh, well, like I've said, I can understand the frustrations for many people who don't understand the value of having Māori wards. But I'm going to vote yes, and that is to future-proof the ward system for our increasing population, because there's going to come a time that our Pākehā New Zealand Europeans are not the majority anymore, and they're going to be trying to fight for the same rights that Māori are trying to have today. It's all Māori just trying to be heard and have our place at the table, and with the Te Pūao ward, it is a good start.
Okay, Grant.
Oh, look, I think we've answered this earlier before, to be honest. It came up a little bit earlier, but yeah, I'm like Caleb. I mean, I think there's a real benefit for Palmerston North. Look, it hasn't worked. Wards haven't worked in other districts and some other places, and that's because there is quite diverse views within those areas, and there has been conflict in the past. There hasn't been here, and this is one of the few places in the North Island actually that there was no. The New Zealand Wars didn't happen here, and that is that's permutated through society here over the last 160, 170 odd years. And as I said earlier, there's a reason why Te Piti Te Awi statue's in the square and not Lord Palmerston. So, I mean, you know, it's in all seriousness, that is what it is about. And there is an appreciation that Rangitane have done a lot. They're great mana whenua. They've done a lot for the city. They don't hold the city back, and there's a real appreciation and genuine and authentic partnership with the council and a lot of other entities, whether it be sport, rugby, for instance. The Rangitane are on the front of the jersey of the Cyclones. So I mean, that's an example of the how iwi and the city and different entities have got together. Businesses is another one too, in terms of different business entities in the city. So yeah, I think that there's a huge amount to have in having a Māori ward in Palmerston North, and it's positive.
Okay, Orphy.
I think my position on this is well known and documented around the council table. It's important that we retain Maori wards, but personally as well, because I got, should I be given the opportunity to serve as mayor, I've highlighted that I wanted to reduce the size or the number of councillors around the council table, because I didn't believe that 16 elected members was necessary in a city the size of Palmerston North. But one of the things I'll still be supporting Maori wards throughout the election, but at our upcoming representation review, instead of having 2 seats, I'll be seeking to reduce it to 1 seat around the council table, because I believe, that should be enough to bring the Maori views still around the council table, whether. It doesn't matter whether we have 3, 4, 5, 6 Maori wards on the table. One, actually, given the size of Palmerston North and the population as well, that geographical size of Palmerston North, should be enough to represent the whole of Rangitane as well, or iwi or hapu around the Manawatu. So I'll be supporting Maori wards, but at our next representation review, I'll be proposing to have 1 seat as opposed to 2 seats. Thank you.
Okay, Michael. 1 sec.
I had the question on Maori wards before, and I support them for reasons of equity and representation. But another factor is what's good for Maori is good for everyone. I've heard that said a lot. And in terms of the environment and in public health, which are positions I've been involved with, I'd say that's actually true. I work for an iwi in the environment space. We are in partnership with Horizons on resource consents, and we have stricter standards of resource consents than than Horizons do. We want to have mitigation to make the environment better than before, rather than the same as it was. The stock exclusion regulations, which are actually mental, because they say that you can't keep cows reared for milk, or you can't keep pigs unless they're fenced, but you can do what you like with sheep, which are just as polluting. We're much stricter. We say, if you've got any animals, they need to be fenced in. So we're a lot stricter when it comes to the environment. And as far as public health goes, in South Auckland, it was the Marae and the Pacifica places that were actually doing the vaccines for the less advantaged people. And during the Auckland floods, that were sheltering people. And the Marae in Ohakune, where I work, are also shelters for natural disasters if Ruapehu blows. So, yeah, I think that Maori wards are good for everyone, especially those who are maybe not as advantaged as others.
Okay, thank you for that. Now let's get time for closing statements on why Palmerston North voters should give you their first preference vote. And I'm going to have to get another list. Michael, you get to go up first.
Okay. I've been, quite pleasantly surprised at the lack of disagreement. Like, all of us seem to be on the same page as far as an inclusive city and giving everyone a fair go. Maori wards, cycling, and not being intimidated by the government saying that we should have higher. We shouldn't. We should cap our rates. But I'd still say there's one thing that does set me apart from the other candidates, is that I'm the only one who is actually taking into account the non-human animals who are treated shockingly in New Zealand. There's more animals killed in 1 year in New Zealand than humans have killed humans in every conflict of the 20th century. And most of them killed in nasty ways. So if elected, I would like to try to get Palmerston North onto C40 cities list, the plant-based treaty, have resource consents where there's mitigation and planting, which will enable wildlife to thrive. And I think that is my point of difference. So if you care about non-humans as well as humans, then please vote for me.
Okay, next up, Caleb.
Oh, well, first I'd like to say thank you to our wonderful audience that have come here to support us tonight. Everyone that's coming online, it's been a pleasure. And Sam, you've been a great host. Good mahi from our candidates, with a lot of our thoughts going the same way. It's Palmerston North, we're at Turning Road. We have got so much potential. We've got a good base, but we need to be moving forward with the future. If you want a mayor that is active in the communities across the city, vote for me. If you want a mayor that you can approach and talk to on the street, who will hold council accountable for when they drop the ball, vote for me. If you want a mayor that has common sense, to get the basics right done first, done correctly, vote for me. Ngā mihi nui, ka pai tō pō.
Okay, Grant.
Kia ora everyone, and I too just want to acknowledge our audience, both in person here and online, to my candidate colleagues as well, and both in person and online as well. And yes, there has been some general agreements on things. But look, why vote for me or re-elect myself? Look, number one, I have experience on dealing with the real world issues. I put people first. As I said, I have a head for business, but a real heart for the community. I've been born here, brought up here, or mainly around here. I moved away, but I've come back and raised my family here, had a business here, and will probably die here too. But in all seriousness, I want to see Palmerston North go ahead. The others are right. We've got huge potential. We just have to realise those opportunities. A number of big projects around the Tutanganui Logistics Hub. We've got to get that water space right with the entity and the new wastewater plant. We've got to continue to champion what we're world class at, and that is food science and research, but also innovation with our education system and our burgeoning tech sector. You know, there was a recent article that said we were the new Silicon Valley of New Zealand in terms of tech, and the tech sector is surprisingly large in Palmerston North. Also, I just want to champion our community sector as well, and I want to advocate for their continued funding, because there's a lot of candidates saying we're going to chop this, we're going to drop this, you know, we're going to cut rates, we're going to do that, but where are you going to do it? You're going to have to give up something. So I'm going to continue to advocate for those parts of the community, which sometimes their voices aren't heard that loud. So, yeah, a vote for Grant Smith is a vote for experience and continuing the great work that the city's done in the last 10 years.
And Orphy.
Oh, kia ora. Just also want to acknowledge the audience here present and also online, and also want to acknowledge Sam and the team, and also my fellow candidates here present. I believe that we all put ourselves forward because we want the best interest for this city. And I mean, why should you vote for Orphy? I mean, like I said, I'm running for mayor because I believe that the city is at a turning point and that we are just in need of new leadership, new vision, and new approach. And Palmerston is currently facing many challenges, from rates rising, aging infrastructure, growing population, and also climate change challenges and sweeping government reforms. And these issues demand leadership, not just change for the sake of change, but leadership with a clear plan. And with the cost of living biting hard, and Palmerston is increasingly becoming harder for a lot of families on fixed incomes, and a lot of businesses, it's becoming harder to do business in Palmerston North, and it's becoming increasingly unaffordable. I mean, vote for me, and you should vote number one, Orphy, because number one, I've experience. I've been privileged to represent you at a council table for the last 2 terms, and I've worked as a parliamentary staffer and as well as an advisor to the Ministry of Education, which gives me experience in public service and skills in governance, relationship building, policy analysis, and project management. This stands me in good stead to continue to add value to our city's local government and lead our city, stunning city forward. Number 2, you should vote for me because my values, my commitment to public service is inspired by my Christian faith, my sense of integrity and hard work ethic, which have been passed on to me by my parents. And if elected, I'll faithfully pursue your interests with a focus on investing in our city's future. Another key reason why you should vote for me is because I'm solution-oriented. I believe that local politics should be about making our city a more desirable place to live, visit, study, do business, and thrive. And as your mayor, I will work collaboratively with stakeholders to deliver practical, achievable solutions to move our beautiful city forward. And the last key point why you should vote for me, effective representation. I value Palmerston North's growing diversity. And as your mayor, I will continue to engage with you, listen to you, advocate for you on issues that are important to you and of concern to you. I will continuously strive to make council and its processes more inclusive, accessible, transparent. I welcome the opportunity to lead our city and our council forward and into the future. And if you share my vision, I invite you to elect me as your mayor come October 11th, 2025. Vote Orphy number 1 for mayor.
Okay, thank you for that, and I'll change that background there. I'd like to now. Actually, no, it's the one about voting. Explain the voting system. Okay, so when it comes to voting for this election, you'll be voters in Palmerston will be using the voting system STV. Now, remember, please take note that whoever gets elected to the top role will achieve under the STV vote redistributions and iterations will have achieved at least 50% of the vote plus 1. So when it goes to voting, don't just look at your number 1 vote, but also look at your number 2, your number 3, and your number 4, as these second and third preferences will help shape who ends up getting the top job. So I think that's about the end for the STV. I'd also like to thank our candidates for participating both in person and remotely. It's not easy to try something new. Also like to thank Nick and Stacey and basically the whole team of It's in the Ballot for making this show work, and I'd like to thank our audience members for participating, coming here and spending a night with us. It's those in person and those online. We'll be joined tomorrow in Lower Hutt with the Central Ward show, followed by the Lower Hutt constituency for the Greater Wellington Regional Council. So thank you for being here, and have a good evening.